Chapter 18. October 8th. We creamed Hillside East 45-13. I scored 6 touchdowns. The first one was the best. It was the very first play of the game. Brill, the quarterback, called I-22 right. That means he hands off to me and I run over right tackle, which was fine with me because right tackle is where Mike DeLuca plays on offense. Coming out of the huddle, Mike bumps me and says, "Let's do it." Usually a simple, safe play like this is supposed to get the team's feet wet, maybe gain a couple yards. That's probably all Brill had in mind. He doesn't know me and Mike. I took the handoff, slanted right, kept my head up, watching for the hole. There it was. Mike was shoving the Hillside tackle halfway to China. I blasted through, and there was the Hillside linebacker. Somebody was supposed to pick him up, but nobody did. I stiff-armed him. The stiff arm almost always works early in a game. Players don't expect it. Most runners never use it. I hit him smack in the face mask with the heel of my hand. His eyes went gaga, his head snapped back. I was clear for a second. Somebody had hold of my free hand, the one without the ball. I started swinging around, spinning with my arm out, trying to shake the kid. He was whirling around like a carnival ride. On the third spin, he went flying off into 2 of his teammates. Now there was nothing between me and the goal line but the safety. I love safeties. They're usually small and fast and shifty. They expect you to try to outrun or outjuke them. I swear, I almost burst out laughing right there when I saw the safety's face as he realized I wasn't going left, I wasn't going right, I was coming straight at him, like there was a bullseye on his nose. I plowed him under and streaked the last 40 yards to pay dirt. My own teammates almost killed me in the end zone, mobbing me, burying me under a pile of bodies, like they never saw a touchdown before. They carried me off the field on their shoulders. The ride was bumpy, but the view was great. The cheerleaders were going crazy, including Webb. That's right. The happy little surprise made it. He's a cheerleader. Same sweater and shoes as the girls. At least he didn't have a skirt on. It was one of the eeriest and uncomfortablest feelings I ever had watching a boy lead cheers for me. Of course, the stands were going wild, too. I looked for my father. Or even my mother, what the heck? Couldn't see either of them. Well, after all, the game just started. Maybe they're on their way. Or maybe I missed them in the crowd. As I waded through all the pad slapping and high-fiving, I took another look at the stands. Still didn't see them. But I did see somebody else. About halfway up. A white-haired guy and a semi-old lady, smiling, clapping with the rest of them. Webb's prehistoric parents. My second touchdown was a 52-yarder on a pitch-out from Brill. This time there wasn't anybody in the way to run over. I just left them all in the dust. The place went wild again. This time, I made them let me leave the field on my own feet. Webb's parents were still smiling and clapping. Mine weren't there. Okay, I figured, they're late. Give them time, they're coming. All you gotta do is keep scoring. So that's what I did. I either scored or made a long gain every time I touched the ball. I had to. Suppose they came just when I got stopped for no gain. I couldn't stand it. And since I didn't know exactly when they'd show up, I had to be great every second. I kept telling Brill, give me the ball. I scored my 5th TD just before the first half ended. They still weren't there. They're probably coming for the second half, I figured. They didn't. TD number 6 came early in the third quarter. As I trotted to the sideline, I kept staring at the stands, not for my parents anymore, but at Webb's. They were still there, grinning and clapping themselves silly. I wanted to charge up there and strangle them. I wanted to shake their skinny vegetarian necks and scream into their Quaker faces, "Stop cheering for me! I don't need your cheers. I'm not doing this for you, so stop acting so damn grateful." When we went on offense again, I raced back onto the field. As I was leaning into the huddle, I felt a tap. I turned, It was my backup. "I'm in for you," he said. "That's what you think," I said. I shoved him. He stumbled backward onto his second-string butt. I heard Coach Latner scream from the sideline. The quarterback called to the referee, "Time out!" For the first time, I noticed it wasn't Brill. It was the second-string quarterback. The coach was calling me. He was waving for me to come out. I pretended I didn't see or hear. Then he came stomping across the field. He pulled me away from the other players. "I'm not going to drag you off," he whispered. "You're going to trot off along with me. Understand?" I glanced at the stands. "You can't take me out. I'm just getting warmed up." "I'm here to beat Hillside," he said, "not destroy them. You're the only first-stringer left on the field, and you're already benched for the first quarter of our next game." He leaned sideways into my face. "Want to try for the second quarter?" He started trotting for the sideline. I went with him. The kids in the stands jumped up and gave me a standing ovation. Everybody was cheering. My name came hooting down. "Coogan! Coogan!" Except one cheerleader, Jane Forbes. She just stood there behind the bench, hands on hips, glaring at me. After the game, Mike had to go straight home, so I walked alone. When I came to my house, I walked past it. I went around the block. Slow. Twice. Somebody was cooking somewhere. Whenever I smell cooking like that, it makes me want to go right into that house and eat along with them. But I can never tell which house it's coming from. Only one thing for sure, it's not coming from my house. That's why I was so shocked when I finally opened the front door. The smell was coming from my house. And that made no sense at all. My mom's car wasn't in the driveway, and Abby isn't allowed to use the stove. I shut the door real quiet. I got a good grip on my football bag. I tiptoed through the living room, the dining room. A suitcase sat on the floor. Something was sizzling in a pan, and it was smelling awful good. Somebody was whistling a tune. He was facing the stove. He must have heard me. He turned, a spatula in his hand. I screeched, "Scooter!"